Hi everyone. So last week had a clash with some of the local photographers here, and one of the things that they told me, which has stuck with me for the past week, is that they know bears. So when I hear someone say something like that, that means to me that they know what a bear will do, an individual bear will do in a whole variety of situations. So, and what I mean by that, that they'll know the trigger points, so to speak, where a bear would go from tolerance to annoyance to aggression and to violence. That they could point out, what's going to trigger a bear's reaction in each of those cases. Um, So I thought about that and absolutely rejected that idea. And the reason is because it kind of demonstrates to me, one, overconfidence, two, complacency, and three, taking the bears for granted. Now, as far as my own personal experience, so I spent the past 36 years in Denali. Um, so I backpacked in Denali. In the first several years that I was there, had a number of encounters with bears in the backcountry, photographed professionally on a part-time basis from 1991 to 2009. Photographed a lot of bears in Denali. I've had two trips to McNeil River back in 1989 and in 2002, which are 4-day crash courses in bear behavior and also body language, which is just awesome. And 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 then also I took the sabbatical from photography from 2009 to September 2021. But also during that time, I was also giving tours as well into the park. And when you're on tour, when you're driving a transportation system bus, which is what I've done for the past 34 and a half years, okay, you're seeing bears, for brief, for periods of time, usually brief periods of time. And when I say brief periods of time, anywhere from say 2 to 5 minutes, at a real extreme, 10 minutes. That's really taking a lot of time. So these are fragments of time. But if you wanted to extend this outward, let's say an hour, let's say 2 hours, where you're viewing a bear. Okay, that's a longer fragment of time, but that's still a fragment of time. Uh, Probably the people that I'd say closest, who come closest to say they know bears, would be the fish and game guides who guide people on a daily basis to McNeil River and spend up to 8 hours each day watching bears and observing their behavior and their body language all through that. But I would suspect even those guides, if you ask them, could you predict what a bear's going to do in any given situation? For from anywhere from one bear to McNeil to all the bears at McNeil, I'd be highly surprised if they said, yes, we know everything that a bear is going to do at any type of situation, at any time, anywhere, any place. I'd be surprised by that, but I would say that they would probably come closest. Maybe Hallow Bay, the guides there, which I suspect spend a tremendous amount of time with the bears there as well. So, but very few situations are going to be like that, where you're spending significant amounts of time with either single bears or large numbers of bears. And then even if you do, I think it's prudent to be on the conservative side. And so, when I'm photographing bears like I have here, for instance, okay, one, I want to always be paying attention to what the bear's doing. I want to pay attention to body language. I want to pay attention to signs of stress. A bear that's yawning, not like when it's napping or about to nap, things like that, but if it's yawning, that can be stressed because another bear's approaching, could be because other people may be approaching. There might be something like that going on. Heavy salivation, that's another sign of stress. Teeth popping, teeth clicking, those are really bad signs. Woofing, another one, which I've had happen to me in Denali, and I definitely didn't like this at all, at least on one occasion. A bear giving me the direct stare, head down, jaws open. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. And that froze all of my movements at that time. So if you ask me, do I know bears? No, I sure don't. I can give you general points of view on bears. I can give you possibilities about what bears may do. I can give you even probabilities as to what bears may do, such as like a bear on a carcass. But even, yeah, which is a highly volatile situation. But can I tell you definitively what an individual bear will do, whether in Denali or here or McNeil River? No, no, I can't. I can't tell you definitively what any particular bear or group of bears is going to do at any one time. Earlier this year, this summer, on tour, I filmed female grizzly and her cubs scratching their backs on the Sable Pass closure sign. And it was raining. And then the bear, after finished scratching its back, came towards the bus and went right by the side of the bus. Didn't pay any attention to the bus or my passengers, which is exactly what we want bears to do, not give us any attention at all. But by that encounter, though, could I say that bear would react in the exact same way to hikers, backpackers, pedestrians, bicyclists? No, I couldn't. You would have to see what that individual bear's personality is on a daily basis for hours at a time to kind of get a real idea as to what that bear may or may not do. So when locals, whether it's here, whether it's Denali, whether it's anywhere, say that, oh yeah, we know bears, that sends up a red flag to me. And yeah, you can get close to bears here. That's definitely, it's not necessary to get so close. And what I mean by close, I guess anything closer than 70 feet is really close. And I've seen them closer here, and definitely they've been closer to me at McNeil. The closest I've been to a bear in Denali was years ago, and that was the length of a van to a bear in Denali. But I also think, there's some other things you have to think about too, is that, if you're super close to a bear or closer, a lot closer than 70 feet, like 10 or 20 feet, other people see that. They may think, hey, it's okay to do that. Nothing's going to happen. Well, that's not necessarily the case. And then the other thing that, when I'm photographing bears, I like to be quiet. I want to be focused on what that bear is doing at all times, whether it's distant or whether it's relatively close. I don't want to be distracted. I want to be able to hear cues, any type of vocalizations from the bear. I want to be attuned to any kind of subtle type body language that bear may be giving. And so one of the locals here was walking upstream. An adult female bear was behind her about 20 feet or so, 30 feet. And she was talking incredibly loudly. And she had her back to the bear. There's not a chance in hell, one, I'd have my back to any bear. And two, and also, at any relatively close distance like that. And then two, I sure as hell am not going to be talking where I can't hear vocalizations either from that bear or any other bear that's in the area, or just the natural sounds that are prevalent here. So everything from the crying of the gulls to the river itself, the cracking of sticks, by the way, that's something you want to pay attention to because that usually means a bear has just stepped on a stick. Sound of bald eagles, you want to take in all of these audio cues as much as you can, but you especially want to pay attention to what the bears are doing. Not only that individual bear, but other bears that may be in the area that may be out of sight. And that's where the audio cues come in, the cracking of sticks, things like that. You want to pay attention. And that's what I'm not seeing here with these locals. It's really disconcerting. I mean, yeah, you can get away with stuff like that. You can take bears for granted. You can be overconfident. You can be complacent. And, you can have 100 interactions and walk away from each one. But then, at some point, you may meet the wrong bear at the wrong time, at the wrong place. And then the consequences are dire, not only for whoever that person is, but also for the bear itself. I mean, we also have to think about these bears And yes, I love being behind the camera, but you know what? No image is worth the death of a bear. No image is worth injury or death to a person. And yeah, I think being conservative is definitely the better way to go, and not take these animals for granted. Um, so that sound right there, red tree squirrel. So, but you want to pay attention to what's going on around you. And just today, I was photographing at the second day use area and filming, and had this guy walk up to me. He's talking loudly to me, and then he's whistling to the bear on two different occasions. And I'm filming. I'm trying to get audio on this too. And then the second time he did it, I asked him to please stop, and then he walked away. But again, I want to be tuned into that. I want to be tuned into that bear, and that bear, is probably about 100 yards, maybe more away. But yeah, I think tuning into your environment, tuning into the animals, that's definitely the safer way to go for them and for oneself. And so, yeah, for me, anybody who says they know bears, how do you know bears? I mean, really, how do you know them? Give us specifics. Let me know what you actually mean by that. Because I, for one, I don't know them. I'm a student of them. That's what I would consider myself. Trying to learn more, trying to be aware more, trying to be in tune more. I think that is definitely the far better way to go than to take them for granted, or to try to only get close shots of, yes, tolerant bears, but again, at what point does that bear go from tolerance to annoyance to aggression or potential aggression to violence? And sometimes those steps, they're not followed in order. Sometimes they can go from 0 to 100 in just a heartbeat, and you may not get the body language cues in regards to that. And so it's not an exact science to look for body language. It definitely helps, especially if you're unfamiliar with an area and you're unfamiliar with these particular bears or any bears. But you still want to be cueing in to bears that you've photographed or observed before. That's the thing. You don't want to take them for granted. But at least I don't. I'm going to play it conservatively. Yeah. And there's two words every Alaskan should remember in regards to this. I guess I don't want to go there too deeply, but Timothy Treadwell, he taught, he kind of was an example of how tolerant bears can be for doing the things he did for 13 years. And then he also, there's the duality, the flip side, and how violent bears can be when he and his girlfriend were killed. And so, the idea of taking them for granted, that just really strikes me as it's just a really, really bad thing to do. Anyway, just, my 2 cents worth in regards to that. And so, for anybody who does want to view bears, play it conservatively, enjoy them, give them space, watch for those cues that I've mentioned, and if you don't know what to look for those cues, ask someone who does, and again, play it conservatively. Thanks.